You have questions?
What is slashing?
We have answers.
Slashing is like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And there's a penalty for that?
Yeah. You do that, you go to the box, 2 minutes by yourself, and you feel shame, and then you get free.
This is CBJ in 30.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey? Here we go.
Tweet your questions by using the hashtag CBJIN30.
We'd like to remind you folks, keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
Here's your host, Bob McElligott.
Well, welcome to another CBJ in 30 today. I am Bob McElligott. This Friday, December the 12th, back here at Nationwide Arena after a big win over the Washington Capitals in overtime last night. You know what I finally figured out about this show, and I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out. I get myself so pigeonholed. I feel like I have to do the same thing all of the time, being the same place all of the time. And I was walking in here today and I thought, they were doing some work up on the press level the other day, and I was worried I wouldn't even be able to get into the broadcast booth upstairs. And then I thought, well, why do I have to be there? Why do I have to do that? Why don't I just come down to the club level today and try it out and see what it's like down here? So if you're watching this show, it's a little bit different look. It might be annoying because these ribbon lighting is going on here, and maybe it's distorting the lighting on it, so I apologize for that if you're watching it. If you're listening to this, you don't care anyway, so it doesn't matter. I just wanted to do something different today, shake it up a little bit, and I didn't say that because Taylor Swift tickets are going on sale today. I didn't say shake it up on purpose, but in any event, it's a good day all around. You can't screw this up, right? Plus, I figure if this screws things up, and if it doesn't look good or doesn't sound good or whatever the case may be, somebody will tell me, and then it goes back to that old easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission, right? You were taught that early on in life, weren't you? If you weren't, you should have been. All right, what a game last night. Blue Jackets and the Washington Capitals. Okay, it wasn't the best played game in the world, right? We talked about the fact that going into that game, the Capitals had the second best power play in the National Hockey League. You can't be giving them power play chances. You got to stay out of the box. What do the Blue Jackets do? First thing, they're in the penalty box. Then all of a sudden, they get too many men on the ice. They've got 2 men in the penalty box. They give up a power play goal. They're down 1-0. And then they came back. And they were outshot, at that point, 10 or 12-1 when they were down 1-0. And then all of a sudden, Nick Foligno winds up getting a shot. And it was only the third team shot, and it came from the high slot area. And he whipped it just under the glove of Braden Holtby. Got it in the net, and that made it a 1-1 game. And that's the way it stayed until the third period. And it was a weird game in the fact that the two teams would go long periods without getting shots. Like the Capitals are picking up all these power plays, so they're down there teeing off on Sergei Bobrovsky, doing almost whatever the heck they want to do there. And then the Blue Jackets would grab that momentum, and they'd go back down the other way, and they'd get pressure for a while, and then the Capitals would get it back for a while. And there were some points in the third where it was kind of run and gun back and forth. But I'm trying to think when I've seen a game that had so much sustained pressure in one end, and then it would switch and be such sustained pressure in the other end, and then go back again. That was kind of strange when it came to that. But when the Capitals scored, when Troy Brouwer scored to make it 2-1 in the third period about halfway through, that didn't look good. And there was still plenty of time left, and it's all about the mindset at that point. And the Blue Jackets came out with a great mindset. They just came right back, and they got what turned out to be the tying goal, and they wound up going on to win the game in overtime. So it was great. It really was. I mean, it's a 5-game winning streak. You only pick up 1 point on the Capitals, not 2. Disappointing. But listen, there are 7 points separating the Blue Jackets from the final playoff spot in the Metropolitan Division, and there are 50 games remaining, right? That's 100 points. You need 7. And I know you have to climb over teams, and the Flyers won last night, but the Devils lost. You have to climb over the Flyers and the Devils and the Rangers and the Capitals. So what? So, it's not even Christmas. One of the best things to me would be if the Blue Jackets can make the playoffs after they were down and out and way down and out at Thanksgiving, just to blow that whole theory right out of the water. Of course, somebody would say, well, we said it's not likely. We didn't say it was impossible. Well, big deal. get in the playoffs. That's what it's all about for the Blue Jackets. Find a way to get into the playoffs. You're only going to do that if you win. It's string wins together. So here we go, 5 straight wins as the Pittsburgh Penguins get set to come in here tomorrow night. Let's hear from some of the players from last night after the game in Washington, what the Blue Jackets players had to say. And Kevin Connauton, how about this guy? Is this guy turning into an offensive-minded defenseman or what? He winds up getting, well, they gave him a goal. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Matt Calvert tipped that puck. I said that on the broadcast last night. I don't know if they changed it or not, but here's the thing. Kevin Connauton gets the puck to the net. Whether he gets the goal or an assist, it doesn't matter. He takes a good shot. He had a shot blocked right before that, and I'm talking mere seconds before that. I keep shaking my own camera here by kicking the stand. Mere seconds before that, he had a shot that was blocked right in the slot. He gets it right back. Gets a second opportunity, hammers it to the net, winds up going in, and the Blue Jackets tied the game at 2, which eventually forced the overtime and got them 1 point, which moved on to be 2 points. So here's what Kevin Connauton had to say in the dressing room after last night's game.
You get behind and then get the game-tying goal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's huge when a goalie's playing that well. It gives us an opportunity to win hockey games. And it's motivating too. You know, you see him working as hard as he can to make some of those huge, big saves for us. And you know, it pushes you to work harder because you want to eliminate those scoring chances against. You want to do everything you can to help him out.
You see on the game-tying goal.
We just made a nice play to get the puck to the top, and we had a chance there. I had the puck in the slot that got blocked, and my momentum was kind of taking me to the other side, and Wiz did a good job rolling over, and we got switched up there. And then puck came up to the top, and he slid it over, and I just wanted to get a shot on net because I knew we had traffic, and I was fortunate enough that it snuck through him.
Basically just a matter of hanging with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for me too, because on their goal there, I kind of got that guy got a step on me there on the side of the net and tipped it in. I was able to get out there and make up for it.
Kevin, when you talk about the block shot, not often do you get a chance to get it right back on your stick like that. How happy were you that you get that second chance so quickly?
That was good. I mean, the guys that were out there, I think it was Calvi and Aki, and they did a great job getting the puck back. You know, we had a lot of pressure there, so it was important that we kept possession and continued getting shots on goal.
Kind of a weird game, wasn't it? You'd have no shots for such a long time, then they'd go for a while with no shots, but then every time they scored, you guys were right there to respond.
Yeah, I think we had so few shots in the first just because of the penalties. You know, you're obviously not getting many when you're killing the whole time. So after that, we did a good job of funneling pucks in the net and getting traffic, and we're walking away with 2 points.
There's Kevin Connauton talking about his goal last night, that second goal that wound up getting the Jackets into the tie. They go into the overtime. They wind up winning the game in overtime over the Washington Capitals last night. So a big victory for the Blue Jackets last evening. And Nick Foligno was the star of the game. No question about that. Nick had 2 goals on the night. He had the first one. I told you about that one. He had the power play goal in the overtime that wound up sealing the deal for the Blue Jackets last night. And he was great again. And he and Jack Johnson worked together beautifully on that power play in overtime in order to execute and give the Blue Jackets the victory last night. So you really got to tip your cap to him once again. He's been such an asset to have this year for the Blue Jackets. Here's what Nick had to say after last night's game in Washington. Nick, you get 2 of them here tonight, but the second one, obviously the biggest goal. What's it feel like to walk away from a game where you really couldn't predict the outcome on it and come away with the 2 points?
Oh, it was huge. I mean, we battled, though. I was so proud of our penalty kill, and that's a hell of a power play over there. And we gained momentum from it when we killed them off, and big 4-minute power play that we killed off. And we did a lot of good things. I mean, the game we stuck to our guns. We kind of kept the puck down low, and then played against a really good hockey team that we're chasing in the standings. And to get 2 points against them is huge.
Was that killing of the double minor kind of a turning point in this game?
For sure. I mean, even when they score and we bounce back and get one right away, and it says a lot about our resiliency right now, and we're finding ways to battle back in games and then win. I mean, that's huge, and that's a really good team, and we got to be really proud of it, and just learn from our mistakes. Though you limit penalties against, and we might be able to sneak away with this one. So it's a learning curve, but it's we got to be really proud of the way we played tonight.
What about the poise? 38 seconds left when Jack starts bringing that puck up the ice. That is plenty of time, but you guys never did panic. You just took your time before getting that shot.
Yeah, you're fortunate to get a power play sometimes in OT, and you want to make the most of it and not rush things. And the play just kind of developed itself, and was able to get a good shot off and a great screen from Hartsey. I mean, twice tonight he gave me an opportunity to score goals because of his screen, and it's playing with a guy like him helps you do.
You talk about Bob a lot. Can you say anything more about Sergei Bobrovsky?
What can you say? I mean, look what he did tonight. I mean, just the saves and the poise, and just he's our leader back there. When he's playing like that, we feel so confident, and we know we can. We don't want to make mistakes, but when we do, he's there to back us up, and we have full confidence in him, and know that he's such a competitor, and he was that way tonight.
He sure was. I mean, he just continues to get better and better, Sergei Bobrovsky. And who would have thought? I mean, you watch this guy play sometimes and you think, well, he can't get any better than that, right? Oh, yes, he can. And he was fantastic last night. And it looked to me like he really thrived playing against Alex Ovechkin. And I'm sure he did, because they're buddies and they're fellow countrymen, and they play international competitions together on the same team. They practice together. He knows what Ovechkin does. He knows how to read him, how to stop him, how to be there and, take away his best chances. He knows all of that, and you could see it last night. Now, everybody knows that on the power play, Ovechkin's going to park himself in that left wing circle and look for the cross-ice pass and one-time it. Everybody knows that. But Sergei was able to anticipate. He would get square to that shot. And to me, the key for him was he gave up some rebounds last night, but he didn't give up a lot. And he didn't give up any that put him in a precarious position after the puck came off the body. And I thought that was key last night because they had guys crashing the net. And when Ovechkin shoots, he's trying to do one of three things. Either put it in the net, put it right through your body, or get a rebound so somebody else can put it in. And Sergei didn't let any of that happen when Alex Ovechkin had the puck on his stick last night. Not one time. And that was so fun to watch. The only two goals that go in are redirected goals. They're tip-ins. They changed direction right to 3 feet in front of the goaltender. So those are hard to stop. And Sergei Bobrovsky was fantastic last night. Outstanding. Head coach Todd Richards also talked after the game last night. He always does, and this is what he had to say.
Talked about not taking too many penalties. We ended up taking 6 and 3 in the first 5 minutes. So it wasn't the start that we wanted, but we found a way to get our legs and get back into the game, and in large part because our goalie made some big saves for us.
Were you oddly getting some sort of momentum or some sort of confidence out of that penalty kill? Because the kill was fairly strong.
Yeah, the kill was okay. We spent a lot of time in our zone, but versus this power play, you're gonna have those types of moments. Again, Bob made some big saves for us, but again, in the future when you're playing this group, this other team, you can't be giving them 5-6 opportunities on the power play.
Just expand on Bob's play. He was spectacular in that.
He was good. He was very good. Obviously kept us in us, gave us a chance. We scored a goal, and I think that gave us some life. Really liked the way we came out and played the second period, up until we took a penalty again. And then that gave them some momentum. We were 4 minutes on the kill, and they generated some opportunities and some shots. And what that also does is take us out of the rhythm as far as our lines and our combinations, because you got some guys sitting on the bench and you're wearing down the penalty killers.
You got the power play in the overtime. You called timeout there. What was the strategy there? What were you looking for?
Well, we didn't want to give up a 2-on-1 on our power play, but it was just about number one, you got to shoot the puck. And, for the first, I don't know how long it was, a minute and a half, whatever it was, we didn't do anything. And then it came down, Nicky makes a pass to Jack. Jack, gives it back to him, puts it in his wheelhouse, and Nicky makes a great shot.
Todd, what about the response again tonight? They score, your team comes back. Even when it went for a long stretch with nobody scoring, as soon as they scored, your team picks it up and they come back and tie the game.
Yeah, well, that's what one of the growing processes that we have to go through. And, when things weren't going well for us, we didn't respond the right way. So, a positive sign about tonight is, despite being down 1-0 and 2-1, the guys stuck with it. We got some saves when we needed it, but the guys stuck with it, and then you get one, and then that gives you some life again.
Kevin Connauton all of a sudden becoming a very offensive defenseman here the last couple of games.
Yeah, he's our offensive threat right now. He's been playing really well, not just his production, but just some simple puck plays and getting the puck up the ice and some patience and some poise.
Head coach Todd Richards talking about his team's play last night in their overtime victory in Washington, D.C. over the Capitals. Behind me, there is an optional skate that is just beginning, and the guys that didn't play last night will be out there. Adam Cracknell's out there. Tim Erickson is out there. Who else was scratched last night? Just taking a look to see who else is on the ice right now. It's a little bit easier to see from down here than it is from upstairs. But guys take their option. They can decide whether they want to skate today or not. The guys that get a lot of minutes in games more than likely will just take this day off. They're here. They're working out. They're doing all that stuff, and then they'll get ready for tomorrow's game against the Penguins and skate in tomorrow's morning skate. So that puts the wraps on Washington last night. The Blue Jackets will get another look at the Capitals coming up on Thursday night when they are right here 6 days from now at Nationwide Arena. So moving on, Pittsburgh Penguins come in here tomorrow, and I'll tell you this. As tough as the Washington Capitals are to play, the Pittsburgh Penguins are as tough, if not tougher, to play. The Penguins are playing extremely well right now. They do have injury problems. They are overcoming those injury problems. And this was talked about earlier in the year. Last year, the Penguins had about 8 guys out of the lineup at one time. And to be fair, one of those guys was Evgeny Malkin. But to me, this is the difference. Their goaltender was healthy the entire time. Marc-Andre Fleury, who has been great, especially in the regular season here these last couple of years, he was healthy. So they were set there. And Sidney Crosby was in the lineup playing. And when you've got arguably the best player in the game that's out there playing every night, it doesn't matter who he's playing with because he makes the guys around him better. That's his job. He knows how to do it. Guys thrive off what he does. Ask Brian Gibbons. Just go down and ask Brian Gibbons about playing alongside of Sidney Crosby like he did a couple of times last year and how much better you get playing with a guy like that on your line and how he sets you up and how he makes you better. So, they had him in the lineup the whole time, so they were able to persevere and overcome and all that stuff. But they are missing some guys right now, and they'll come in here and they'll whine and cry about that, but the Blue Jackets won't want to hear it because they're still missing a number of players. Fedor Tutin, I told you yesterday, Fedor Tutin took the trip. He was in the press box last night. Hopefully, we're going to see him back on the blue line very soon, which I was just talking with head coach Todd Richards about Kevin Connauton a few moments ago and the difference that Connauton makes all of a sudden getting the puck to the net, creating scoring chances. Everybody's got to pick it up on that blue line right now because they know Tutin's coming back. They know eventually Ryan Murray's coming back. Cody Golubev has been activated off the injured reserve and is on a conditioning assignment for Springfield right now. As a matter of fact, they're playing in Norfolk, Virginia tonight. And Jarmo Kekalainen was leaving Washington today to go and watch that game and watch Springfield play tonight in Norfolk. So you've got Cody Golubev there. You've got to do something with him. Ericsson's not playing right now. He's been a healthy scratch. So there's a lot of competition on that blue line, and there's going to be more competition. And that really was created once Jordan Leopold was acquired in a trade and Kevin Connauton was picked up off waivers from the Dallas Stars. So that's a good thing because everybody's going to have to be on their game every night. There's not going to be any margin for error. You're going to have to play hard. You're going to have to play properly. You're going to have to produce. And when I say produce, doesn't mean you have to get goals and assists, but you have to be out there doing your job and produce a good pass out of your own zone. Produce a big hit at the right time. Produce a turnover. Whatever it is. But there's a lot of pressure on those guys right now because there's a lot of competition for jobs defensively on this team at this moment. All right, let's get to what you have to say. Let's get to what's on your mind as we go to Twitter at Bobby Mack Sports. The hashtag is CBJin30. I've got a couple of questions here as I turn to it about Nick Foligno. CBJ or Die has written in about this. Well, I'll just read this one. It says, I know it's just a letter, but why doesn't Foligno have an A anymore? And Bold does. Kelly also asks, what happened to Nick Foligno's A? That sounds weird. I would say, I know sometimes they have guys that they switch it up, and I apologize. I see the guys wearing it. What does it mean? What does it mean? I guess it indicates that you're a leader. And that's why Jared Boll has one. He's the longest tenured Blue Jacket. He carries a lot of clout in the dressing room. We've gone through this before. Despite what you may think, he is very important to this team. The way the other players in the room look at him, he is very important. They look at him as a leader. They value what he says. So him having an A, I have no problem with it whatsoever. Since there's no captain, there are 3 A's. Guess what? Dubinsky has another one right now. And again, this is why I really don't pay that much attention to it, to be honest with you, because it's just, it's an indicator of really who is supposed to talk to the referee or who gets a chance to talk a little bit more than the other guys because they're wearing that letter. The letter that really matters is the C, and there isn't one of those. And I don't want to downplay the other guys that are wearing A's by any means, but if Jack Johnson doesn't have an A on, he's going to go up and talk to the referee and get the same kind of respect as Brandon Dubinsky does, even though he's wearing one. So, again, we get so wrapped up in this minutia. It's like Nick Foligno doesn't have an A on his sweater, and he scored 2 goals last night, including the game winner. Who cares? Do you think he cares? I don't think he cares. Maybe he has one on here at home tomorrow night. That it could be, and I know it was probably announced before the year. Now that I think about it, there's probably a press release somewhere about guys that are going to wear it at home, and then different guys are going to wear it on the road. That's very possible. So maybe that's the answer to your question. So anyway, I know there are times I just don't get wrapped up in the same things that you get wrapped up in, and I'm not downplaying it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I mean, that's what you're into. I'm into guys scoring goals, winning games, and being good guys and good leaders, whether they have a letter on or they don't have a letter on. So I was even going to say we can agree to disagree, but we're not disagreeing on anything. We're just it's just a perspective. So I don't know why he didn't have one on. If he has one on tomorrow night against the Penguins, then I certainly do know the answer. Tim Kelly, who do you think will be in net for the Blue Jackets and the Penguins on Saturday? And do you, I'll ask Tim's second question in just a minute. That'll be interesting. Pittsburgh is playing tonight. They are at home taking on the Calgary Flames. A couple of things about that. They're at home, so I could very much see them putting Fleury in the net for a home game. They are playing the Calgary Flames, who are a tough team to play against. I mean, they're going to have their work cut out for them tonight, the Penguins are. And that's a good thing for the Blue Jackets, because the Blue Jackets are out here having this optional skate, and then they'll, go home and rest up and get ready for tomorrow, whereas the Penguins have got to play tonight. I know it's only a 25-minute flight or whatever over here, but it probably still takes the Penguins longer to get to the airport than it does to fly here to Columbus once they're at the airport in Pittsburgh. But, they've got a tough game tonight. Now, again, I could see them playing Thomas Greiss over there tonight, and you know what? They've already had a morning skate, so I could probably find this out somewhere. But anyway, I could probably really find the answer for this if I look hard enough, can I not? In any event, I'm getting myself off track here. Let's see if I can find this. Let me just go to the Penguins Twitter account here, and it's got Mike Johnson talking. Sidney Crosby confirms he'll be playing in tonight's game against Calgary. He missed practice yesterday because he was sick, but he's going to play. Yeah, that's not a shock. Let's see. They're all talking about Crosby here. Crosby. But anyway, if they started Greiss tonight against the Calgary Flames, it wouldn't shock me because it's a division game tomorrow. And I don't know how seriously they're taking the Blue Jackets right now, but I could see them playing Fleury over here tomorrow. Very, very easily could see that happening. Let me see here. Fleury's the first Penguins goalie off the ice this morning, so it looks like he's going to play tonight. Maybe the Blue Jackets get Thomas Greiss tomorrow night. All right? That's the way it looks. That's the way it appears. Although Fleury could play in both games. Who knows? But anyway, so Bobrovsky's playing, for sure. No doubt. I'd be shocked. You could knock me over with a feather, literally, if he didn't play tomorrow night. Here's Tim's other question. What do you think the league needs to do to prevent all of these injuries in the NHL? I'm assuming, Tim, that you're referring to Jonathan Toews getting hit last night by Dennis Seidenberg of the Boston Bruins. That he hit him from behind and he drove him into the boards, and Toews got hurt in that game. That's what I'm assuming. What can you do to stop that, guys? They just got to stop when it. Well, it's not always the player's fault, but if a guy's got his back to you, you got to put the brakes on. You just have to do that. You got to figure it out, find a way. And I still think that the reason, and some of those hits are unavoidable. Some of those hits are guys turning at the very last second, and I still think that it's really, you look at the number of games played, the number of hits made in every game, and then the number of hits that result in one being like that. it's still minuscule. But I don't think guys are head hunting, to be honest with you. It's just happening, and they're happening. How many are happening in open ice? They're happening along the boards there and all that stuff. But if you see the numbers, if the numbers are facing you, you've got to just learn to put the brakes on and stop. Because what you're going to do is, even if you hurt a guy like that, and believe me, when it's Jonathan Toews or Patrick Kane or Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin or Alex Ovechkin or any marquee player in this league, there's going to be a much bigger focus put on you when you're the guy delivering that hit. But, not only are you going to do that and potentially hurt a guy, but you're going to put your team down because you're going to wind up in the penalty box. You might get a game misconduct. You might get a major penalty, and you're probably going to get a suspension. So there's nothing good that comes out of any of that. So they just got to put the brakes on. Like I said, all of those hits are not unavoidable. So, but the ones that are, you got to find a way. And I think the league is, to give you a better answer, I guess, I think the league's doing about everything they can to make sure that kind of stuff stops. Let me see. Dennis Kelly II has this one. He says, in honor of Sinatra's 99th birthday and the return of Brandon Dubinsky, can we get a doobie-doobie-doo out of you today? I guess you just did. Doobie-doobie-doo. What does, first of all, I don't know what does Sinatra have to do with doobie-doobie-doo? Is that what you meant? And I don't understand celebrating birthdays of people that are dead, just to be quite honest. I don't understand that. I don't. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm sadistic in a way, but it's like, hey, today's Sinatra's birthday. Well, he's dead. He was a fantastic icon and a figure, but people keep counting. It's one thing to say it's his birthday. It's another thing to say this would have been. I'm not picking on you, Dennis. I'm just saying people do this all the time. Ronald Reagan would be 100 today? Yeah, he would be if he was still alive, but he's not. So maybe that's just me going off the rails. I don't know. What else would be new, right? Let's see. What do the Blue Jackets need to do in order to beat the Penguins at Nationwide Arena? Stay out of the penalty box. Last night you faced the number 2 power play in the league. Tomorrow you face the number 1 power play in the league. Stay out of the penalty box. First and foremost. I would say score early in that game. The Penguins are not a team that you want to be chasing. I think there's just a different mindset chasing the Capitals, chasing the Penguins. I really do. The Blue Jackets had success against them in the playoffs last year. Even with that success, don't forget, they lost 5 times in the regular season. They won 2 times out of 6 in the playoffs. You do the math, right? You're still 2-9 last year, even though you did win some big games, overtime games, both of them against the Penguins. You want to show the Pittsburgh Penguins what happened in the playoffs was not a fluke. You want to show them when you had them on the ropes that you have matured to the point where you can now knock them out. That's what you want to show them. So you've got to play a clean game. You've got to be in your lanes. You have to stick to your system. You pick whatever hockey cliche you want to, okay? But you've got to play an almost perfect game, in my opinion, against the Penguins. You're in your own building. You have to take advantage of that. And I'll be interested to see what the crowd's like tomorrow night. Because last year in the playoffs, a lot of people thought those games were going to be a Pittsburgh home game. And that did not happen. Now, the regular season's a little bit of a different beast. It was last year. I don't know if it will be tomorrow or not, but it doesn't matter. The Blue Jackets, even if that were to be the case, they've got to overcome that. They can overcome that, and they can get the people here cheering for them, for sure, with hard work and great effort. And that's what I expect them to do tomorrow night. I don't know if the guys will admit to this, but I think this is a big game on the calendar. They finally get a chance to play Pittsburgh in a game that means something. They played them in the preseason, lost the game. The only loss in the preseason came to the Penguins in Pittsburgh, and it was a 1-goal game. And it didn't matter because you had a bunch of minor league guys and junior guys playing in that game. Okay, this one matters tomorrow. And I think it matters to these guys. I really do. I don't know if they'll admit that or not, or if they'll just say, hey, it's one more game on the schedule. They're not any different than anybody else. But to me, that would be a lie. I think they are different than anybody else. I think you created that rivalry last year in the playoffs. I think this is a team that you're gunning for every time you have a chance to play them, and they get their first chance in the regular season tomorrow night. And I think that they are really savoring this opportunity. And they would like to do it with a full, healthy roster, but that's not going to happen. But the Penguins would also like to play this with a full healthy roster. That's not going to happen. So, may the better team tomorrow night win the game. I didn't say the better team overall. I said the better team tomorrow night. If the Blue Jackets happen to win it, then I would count them as the better team overall anyway. I'd say, well, you know what? I'll change what I said yesterday. They're the better team overall. So be it. It's only the start of the season series. Don't forget. Let me see. Alexis, I believe you have something for me in CBJ or Die. Oh, yeah, that game-winning song. All right, Michael Chaput and Boone Jenner were on the bike, the stationary bike, after the game last night. And I asked them. And Boone said, time of my life is what they're using right now. Now, let me show you the difference in age between them and me. They say time of my life. The first thing I think of is that Dirty Dancing song. And that's not even the name. Is it the name of the song? All I can think of is that Bill, what's his name? Well, I had the time of my life. That's what I think of. That's not the song. Okay, they're not cranking that in the dressing room after the game. But Boone did also tell me it's changed a couple of times. So I thought that I was just out of touch. But he said it's changed a couple of times. They've been looking for something that would put them in a rhythm, and apparently this is it. So that, I hope that answers your question, Alexis. I hope it does. Let me see. Sam Ford, do you have any new injury updates? I don't think so. Feder Tootin, hopefully early next week, might be back in the lineup for the Blue Jackets. So that's, I think he has his fingers crossed, and he's hoping that maybe going into Detroit in the early part of next week that he can be back in the lineup. But again, we'll have to see. He's still day-to-day, and he's still skating and still trying to get himself to where he needs to be. Brian Wagner, can we expect to see Dubinsky smothering Crosby? He's returned just in time. You mean figuratively, right? Right, Brian? Just figuratively? Yes, you can expect that. He's going to be all over Sidney Crosby like a G-string on a sumo wrestler. I'm telling you right now, because that's his job. That's what he'll do. He'll be out there. Putting the pressure on Sid, and I would imagine that Todd will try to match them up every chance that he gets, especially with the way that the playoffs went last year. And Jack Johnson will be out there against him too, for sure. I think the first thing that they'll want to do is remind the Penguins what it was like to come in here last year and what the Blue Jackets can do to them. So I would expect to see that all night long. Lionel Richie. All night long. I'm in that mode. You know what's funny about sitting here in this club level is that people walk by and they have no idea what I'm doing. Sitting here talking to myself. They have no idea what's going on. You should see the looks. I wish I could get the camera just to look at the... It's great. Salespeople walking by with clients. Now that's our whacked out radio guy talking to himself over there. Yeah, and the chefs are walking by. And it's kind of fun. It's entertaining. Maybe I might have to do this more often. I just entertain myself down here. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Probably at time or whatever, and it doesn't matter. It's Friday. It's casual Friday today. Let's see. Actually, it is. It's a jeans day for the staff here. I think this is the first jeans day that we've been here, actually been in town all year, if not the last 2 years. I always get these emails. Jeans day. Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm on the road wearing a suit. You're going to have jeans day. Have it when I'm around. Somebody finally listened. And I don't know how they listened because I never really griped about it. It only happened in my head. So, let's see. Anything else that you have for me today? Laney Van Cleef. Laney Van Cleef says, what are your thoughts on Kevin Connaughton? I like him a lot. I think he's getting more comfortable and he's getting better every game. He's got a good shot, and I think what we're seeing in these last couple of games is he's using it. And I still think when you join a new organization, especially the way he did, he got put on waivers. He thought he was going to Austin, Texas, to the American Hockey League, and instead he winds up coming to Columbus, Ohio, staying in the NHL. Good trade, right? I would trade that out. I'd stay in the NHL instead of going to the AHL. Absolutely. But you come in here, and it's a new group of guys, and The system's probably similar, but it's a little bit different. You have to get acclimated. I think he's just getting comfortable right now. And now that he is getting comfortable, I think he's starting to show us what his game is all about. And that's what's fun to watch. That right there. There's some kids down there. We got a lot of kids in here today. You probably can't see it. But today, I think it must be the Pen Pal Luncheon Day, where the Blue Jacket staff is pen pals with one of the local elementary schools, and all those kids were out there for a pizza party today, so now they're watching this optional skate that's going on. The Blue Jackets and as they get ready for tomorrow's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So anyway, this has been fun. Did I miss anything? Oh, Dennis Kelly II said that, the Dubinsky and Sinatra, a lyric from Stranger in the Night. Strangers in the night, exchanging glances. You've had enough of this today, haven't you? I mean, this is not my forte, obviously. It's not karaoke day. So we should probably shut this thing down. Fro says, moving around the arena, I like it. It gives the viewers a different look and a different perspective. Thank you, Fro. Thank you very much. Thank you for that comment. What? It's fun to win, isn't it? It is fun to win. It's amazing what happens when you win. Everything is good. As Jody Shelley said to me on the plane last night, even the food tastes better when you're winning. And he's absolutely right. So that is going to wrap it up for today's CBJ in 30. We're going to do this tomorrow, by the way. I almost forgot to tell you. We will have a morning skate live edition of CBJ in 30 tomorrow morning starting at 10 o'clock when the Blue Jackets go on the ice getting ready to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if you have Saturday questions, game day questions, whatever,